It's Wake Up Wyoming with Glenn Woods.
Six the time. It's Wake Up Wyoming. Just double checking here. We finally made it to, yep, lo and behold, it's Friday. You know, you lose track sometimes.
Today's show is sponsored by pretzel-flavored mustard. Why eat the pretzel when you can just eat the mustard?
You know, and chewing is not required for you old people in old folks' homes that are listening to this program.
Warning, this show contains reference to guns, liberty, limited government, low taxation, the cult of climate change, free thinking, cigar smoking, short people, rubber chickens, Karen's bureaucracy, liberal buzzwords, tour runs, traffic, toilets, terrible jokes, and more. No apologies will be issued. Guest callers may express any opinion they want without fear of being canceled. Unless you're a loudmouth jerk like Dave, then Glenn will hang up on you. Strap in, hold on to your coffee, and feel free to participate.
This disclaimer does not refer to every person named Dave, just one particular Dave from San Francisco. We know a lot of Daves. They call this show all the time, and they're great people. So don't call this program and complain that we use your name. That would be a real Dave move, Dave. So two just program notes today. First off, I am on vacation next week. I'll be in Florida. This is always the time that I do it, this time of year. I tried before going during Thanksgiving, congested, expensive flights, things like delays, things like that. I tried some time ago to visit family during Christmas, same thing. Then I found out that the week or so in between Thanksgiving and Christmas is when the airlines are desperate to put people in seats because traffic just dies off, as you can imagine. Really, nobody's flying. I'm leaving tomorrow. There's hardly anybody on the airplanes tomorrow. Flights are scaled way back, and prices are too. So I always book this time of year way out ahead of time. And the price that I pay for a round-trip ticket, I'll be leaving out of Casper, Wyoming, going to Denver and then Tampa, round trip is so stupid low. Most people have a hard time believing me. It usually, a lot of times, just flying out of Wyoming to Denver can cost more than what I paid for the entire trip. So that's why I go this time of year. It's a good time also to be in Florida. Also, and this breaks my heart to tell you this, so Miss Mary, who's been producer of this program for quite a while now, quite a few years, was offered basically she has a better opportunity. And it's a nicer position, it's more money, and she's taking it. So this is her last day with the program. That I just said, not happy about her going. I offered her, believe it or not, and she thought I wasn't serious, but I will buy her a puppy if she stays. She's not staying, even though she just loves puppies. So, okay, couple of program notes just so you know. Now, with next week, it's all a best of shows. So there's a lot of really great segments that we had fun with over the past more than just a year we'll be doing again. Plus some of your favorite funny bits that we play on the program that are created in-house. Also, anytime you want to listen to this program, remember it's also a podcast. Use your Wake Up Wyoming app, touch on demand, touch Wake Up Wyoming, select your episode. That's all free, and you can just listen to the show, any episode, going way back. Listen anytime you want. All right, now, first topic today. A lot of times when I say stuff like this, I just feel mean. I really do. But what I'm going to say is true. Sometimes the truth is a little mean, but it's true. So say it anyway, right? So those leftist women, and I mean the hardcore leftist women, who after Trump got elected said that they were going to go on strike. They weren't going to date, especially any liberal men. They weren't going to have sex with any liberal men. And the joke at the time was, well, nobody wanted to with you anyway. And then they started shaving their heads. And then they wanted to do something like wear a blue bracelet or something like that so they can identify each other. All right. Well, to me, that shows a mental disorder. If somebody's going through all of that because they don't like that Trump has been elected, shaving their heads, not getting into any relationships at all, wearing something to identify each other, if you're going to do all of that, we're talking about not just Karens. If there's something beyond a Karen, that's what that is. There's something wrong with these women. Here's the latest. They're taking it even farther than that. Some of these women are saying they're going to sterilize themselves. These women are so afraid, the story says, that Trump and Republican majority in Congress are going to take away their ability to have an abortion that they're opting instead to permanently change their body so they just can't have kids at all. And last week, Newsweek, the former magazine, I say that because everything's online now. With some women, we're talking with some women about Trump derangement syndrome, and one said, if I'm going to be denied any rights over the next few years or more, I will not give them up without a fight. So this woman decided to have surgery to remove her fallopian tubes. Another anonymous woman from Washington underwent the same procedure, said, I'm not happy that I felt forced into surgery, which nobody's forcing her into surgery. I don't like that I'm being forced into surgery to alter my body. Nobody's forcing anybody to do anything. But this is the derangement that these women live in. I feel like the election tied my hands, which it didn't, and forced me to be sterilized, and that's horrible. No such thing happened to her. That's all in her head. She said she has known her whole life that she didn't want to be a mother anyway due to some trauma she was exposed to as a child. Currently 39, married to a man who also has a vasectomy. So this is doubly sure that they're not going to have kids. She also said she scheduled surgery in advance, which plans if Kamala Harris didn't win, she was going to have the surgery. She planned that in advance. Another woman who claims to be asexual, which I assume means she's not having sex with anyone, but she's afraid that she'll be attacked or raped or whatever the case is, and that might be a Trump supporter, and she doesn't want to carry that. So, okay. I read this, and I thought, look, it sounds mean for me to say it, but let me just get it out. There are certain people that have a type of a mental disorder. These women are demonstrating it. And if anything, I would rather that the mental disorder was not passed on to the next generation. Really. And so they are taking care of that, aren't they? They're making sure to take care of that. So they're either not dating or not having sex or having surgery to make sure. They're also doing things like, shaving their heads, tattoos, and other such things. Plus, they're beyond, a Karen is too nice of a compliment for these women. They're beyond that. But now they're just going to make sure they can never have kids. Well, thank you. Because if anybody should not be breeding, it's you women, honestly. Now, does that sound mean? I thought about that, and I thought that just really sounds mean. But on the other hand, if there's anybody out there who I would really prefer, not only do they not have kids because they might pass the disorder on, but if they're raising the kid, they would definitely pass on all sorts of problems with the way that they raise the kid. So this is probably a good thing. Morning, Reds in Casper, because birth control hasn't been around since forever. And Chet and Yoder is with me. Good for them. No libtard kids. DJ and Gillette, Whoopi's on strike too. Really? I don't think, is she in a relationship with anyone? I don't think she can be. Let's see. Jim and Casper, sterilizing is a great step toward preventing further spread of liberal TDS disease. So I know it wasn't just me thinking of it. As I was talking about this, you were all thinking the same thing.
What would you do if I broke in your house?
Now, hold on just a minute, Skittles. We protect ourselves with pit bulls and pew-pews, and the real question is which one of them's going to get you first. Because I be diddly dad burn. We get up too early, stay up too late, and work too damn hard to be letting somebody who looks like they tasted the rainbow come in and take our stuff. No, honey, we just soon send your soul to Jesus and let him sort it out. You know what I mean?
Wake Up Wyoming with Glenn Woods. Make your voice heard at 888-97-WOODS. This is AM 1030 K2 Radio.
6:23 is the time. It's Wake Up Wyoming. Here's the story I came across. Now, Cowboy State Daily covered it. I saw it too. It was over on a libertarian website, which I'm more of a libertarian thinker, so I kind of watch that stuff. They like to do state rankings with what they call studies, according to their point of view, where states rank. And this is a libertarian Cato Institute rating the states for personal freedom in 2024. And Wyoming is, according to Cowboy State, they say third worst state for personal freedoms. So I decided, let's just go over to what that website is, and it goes state by state. Overall, Wyoming is 16. New Hampshire is number 1. Florida is number 2 in personal freedoms. South Dakota, number 3. Nevada, 4. Arizona, 5. So we're all the way down to 16. Okay, California is 48, by the way. New York is 50 at the bottom. Alaska's really good, but Hawaii ranks 49th. So let's go ahead and take a look at this. I'll click on Wyoming. Why do they put it this way? Okay, first off, remember, this is libertarian thought. So some of this stuff I agree with, some I don't, because I always like to say I'm libertarian-ish. Not all the way, because there's some things they talk about that I disagree with. So they say privatize hospitals and cut health spending to reduce government employment and consumption will allow sales taxes to be cut. Wyoming spends more on health and hospitals as a share of its economy than any other states. Regulatory, Wyoming lets employers buy work compensation coverage from any willing seller or self-insure, and considers privatizing the state fund. Also, adopting individual this is where they had a problem. School choice, which Wyoming is working on. For the longest time in Wyoming, you pretty much had to, unless you were going to pay for a private school somewhere, you pretty much just had to go to a public school. But Wyoming is working its way toward school choice, I'm happy to say, and I've been an advocate for that for many years, and that's a choice and freedom. So they say, as a resource-dependent state, Wyoming's fiscal situation can fluctuate greatly from year to year. Yeah, boom, bust, causing some volatility in its freedom scores over time. Its overall freedom ranking dipped sharply in the late 2000s before bounding back to its previous ranking by the end of the decade. It has bounced around since, but with its ranking improving from 2016 to 2021, the Equality State is now the top state for fiscal policy after lingering near the bottom for several years. Now, that's good news. Again, fiscal policy. For a long time, Wyoming, even though we had a pretty good savings, the way the state spent money was just stupid, and we've gotten a lot better at it. They say Wyoming does poorly on personal freedoms, coming in at number 48 on personal freedoms. But its overall ranking is salvaged by strong showing on regulatory policy and a decent score of fiscal policy. So with favorable trust and corporate privacy laws and no income taxes of any kind, Wyoming is a good place to park your wealth, like a lot of people do in Teton County. Cowboy State deserves a much larger share of their gross income from capital gains than average. Excluding mineral severances, motor fuel, alcohol, tobacco revenues, state income tax, it comes to a projected, your taxes like 3.6% adjusted for 2022 inflation and so on. It gets into some of the physical deed. Local taxes stand, and it talks about local taxes, but also we've had a bit of a problem with our property taxes. We're working to fix that. Wyoming does above average on land use and energy freedom, despite the best efforts of the Biden administration. Thank God they're gone, or they would put us out of business altogether. Labor law, they say, is generally good with no minimum wage, a right-to-work law, and enforcement of non-corporate agreements, but employers must obtain workers' compensation coverage from a monopoly state fund, and they don't like that. And anti-discrimination laws go beyond the federal minimum. Health insurance mandates are slightly lower than most other states. Wyoming's criminal this is where the libertarians really get into some stuff that I disagree with. Wyoming criminal justice policies are below average, they say. Incarceration and drug arrest rates are high, but have declined slightly since 2019 after rising for years. Non-drug victim crime arrests have roughly held steady, but still slightly higher than average. And here we go. Wyoming, however, is far better than average. Cannabis laws are particularly bad, they say. So if you're talking libertarians, the libertarian group was all for just drug freedom in general, not just pot. So they say cannabis laws are particularly bad, though not among the hardest. However, unlike many other states, Wyoming hasn't liberalized it in any meaningful way. Wyoming is one of the best states for gun rights. We win there. Having passed constitutional carry in 2010, in 2018, the state passed a no duty to basically stand your ground kind of law. That's a good thing. Thus, the only areas where the state can improve on gun rights is removing local restrictions for concealed carry. And then it talks about gambling and things like this. So overall, they rank us as far as freedom. What are the freest states? They rank Wyoming at about 16. Beaten by South Dakota, Nevada, Arizona, New Hampshire, and Florida. But again, this is a libertarian think tank here, so there's a lot I agree with, a few things I disagree with on that. I'd give us a higher score overall. Not number one, but a much higher score. Coming up on local news, update on your weather forecast after that. Let's Wake Up Wyoming.
He's talking to himself in a padded room, and you could be the voice in his head. Join the conversation on Wake Up Wyoming, 866-97-WOODS.
6:36 the time, Wake Up Wyoming. Okay, so I sent this to John, if you're out there, John in Gillette. He's a doctor. I sent this story to him, and I thought, what, really? And when I first read this story, I thought, this sounds like it would come out of, like, the UK or Canada, places that have socialized medicine. So imagine you're going in for surgery and the anesthesiologist puts you under. So now you're falling asleep. Story says, in an unprecedented move, Anthem, Blue Cross, Blue Shield, representatives in Connecticut, New York, and Missouri have unilaterally declared it will no longer pay for anesthesia care if the surgery or procedure goes beyond an arbitrary limit, regardless of how long the surgery takes place. So payment for anesthesia service is based on several factors, including the exact amount of time for the anesthesiologist to deliver the care, okay, and during the operation and when transitioning the patient into recovery afterwards. So it's not just a matter of, putting the person under, but bringing them back properly. With this new policy, Anthem will arbitrarily predetermine the time allowed for anesthesia care during a surgery procedure if an anesthesiologist submits a bill where the actual time of care is longer than the limit. The insurance company will deny payment for the anesthesiologist's care with this new policy. Anthem will not pay anesthesiologists for delivering safe and effective anesthesia care to patients who may need extra attention after their surgery, if their surgery is difficult, usually because complications will arrive. Does not sound like a great policy. Sounds like somebody I would dump as an insurance company right away. Also, try this. If I ever have to go in for surgery, instead of an anesthesiologist, could someone just come up behind me and club me in the head and just put me out? Or what about the old days where they used to just hand you a bottle of whiskey and just start swigging at the whiskey, you'll feel fine. All right. And these are reactions that people gave online. One said that'd be the end of slow surgeons. Okay. Yes, because the anesthesia people have total control over the skills of the surgeon, the complexity of the surgery, and the difficulty of the patient. Another person says, not sure why we pay premiums when they don't get much in return for it. And then the fact that you have to go into surgery with a slight worry drives me wild. So when I read all of that, my thought is, okay, one of the things we must do is continue to keep ourselves in a free market society. The reason I'm in favor of a free market society is what I just read to you seems like something very typical, again, of a socialist government. If some company tries this, I'm not going to do business with them. If I find out that my insurance company is not going to pay for all of the anesthesia's work during that time, I mean, the anesthesiologist, all of it he does, they're not covering all of that, well, you just lost my business. I'm going to go to your competitor because your competitor will do all of that. It's just that simple. Now, I know you don't need an example of this. Oh, yeah. Chet, I agree. And people are shocked, he says, when an insurance CEO gets shot. Yeah, well, now, Chet, I doubt it had to do with an anesthesiologist, but you're not wrong. Look, rather than shooting the CEO of the company, I'm going to do something far worse. I'm going to take their business away. I'm going to fire them, and I'm just going to go somewhere else. It's that simple. You can do that in a free market. What I was going to say is earlier this morning, I was watching a congressman while you were sleeping, a video of a congressman berating the CEO, I think president, vice president, I think, of Spirit Airlines. And Spirit Airlines is having a lot of trouble financially. And according to some people, they have been flying Spirit Airlines has been just a horrible experience. Even to the point of trying to force customers who, like me, when I go flying, I just have one carry-on bag. It doesn't cost me anything. I don't carry much with me. It's one little carry-on bag. It doesn't cost me much. Spirit Airlines would try to wrestle that away from somebody and make them pay, among other things that they would do to try to upcharge. It was a horrible experience. And now so Spirit Airlines is having serious financial difficulties. Customers are just getting sick of them and going elsewhere to the point that it's driving the company out of business. And the airline has really two choices here. Get it together and bring customers back, or go out of business. And the same thing goes for these insurance companies. Honestly, get it together or lose my business. If I saw something like this with an insurance company, I'm just going to go somewhere else.
Hello, I finished my free trial of adulting. I'm no longer interested. I'd like to cancel my subscription. Is there a manager that I can talk to?
Admit it, you were hoping somebody would say that. Where Wyoming comes to talk. This is Wake Up Wyoming with Glenn Woods on K2 Radio. Be part of the show at 888-97-WOODS.
Off we go to the icebox. Frank Gambino's supposed to be waiting by. Frank, you there?
I'm here.
Bright-tailed and bushy-eyed.
Okay.
Okay, so I found, this is worth following. If you go to Facebook, there is a page called Kind Humor.
Kind Humor.
Yes. Now,
is it clean?
Yes. It is. Sorry. Do you want one that's not?
Right, yeah.
I can give that to you, but I can't talk about it on the air.
Yeah, but we'll see what clean says.
Okay, so this first one here, there's a picture of ice cream, and it looks like it's on apple pie. There wasn't any milk in the house, so I'm eating ice cream. See? Healthy choices, right?
There you go.
Okay. And a lady at a dog park, did you adopt your dog? No, he's my biological dog.
That's a snappy answer to a stupid question.
Yes, okay. Now, this is a really bad joke, but I'll go for it anyway. I don't trust the stars. They're always up to something. I apologize for that
joke.
Stop.
Yeah, stop.
I like this one, though. So do you have any pets? Well, I have a goldfish. Any hobbies? He enjoys swimming, I guess. I like this. I am so good at multitasking, I can procrastinate on 3 projects at the same time.
That takes skill.
Yes. Now, this one I have posted on my own page. I don't know why I've never thought about this. So picture a hot dog bun.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So go ahead on one side of the hot dog bun inside there, put jelly. On the other side, put peanut butter and put a banana right up the middle.
It's like a banana split with no ice cream.
It's a peanut butter and banana sandwich, but in a hot dog bun. How come I never thought of that?
You could have been rich.
Yes. I was going to seize the day, but it dodged and I pulled a muscle.
Yeah, that happens frequently around here, yes.
I did post one on my social media today, which I'm getting a lot of reaction to, and I think it works. You'll understand. I've reached that stage in life where I can't fall asleep at night, but in the morning I can't wake up.
You know,
Yeah.
that's a good way to put that. we're old, and that's...
Yes. When we were really young, it was the opposite problem, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. So the signs that you know you're getting older.
It's okay. I get it. All right, the National Finals Rodeo kicked off last night in Las Vegas, and the bareback Weston Timmerman, who was born in Casper and is the nephew of former world champion Kelly Timmerman, a Wyoming native, won the first round with an 87, so he earned $33,687. Timmerman is a two-time college national final champion in this event, competing for Clarendon College in Texas. Buffalo native Cole Reiner with an 83.5 in the bareback last night, so he was out of the money. In the saddle bronc, defending world champion and former Sheridan College cowboy Zeke Thurston won the first round with an 86.5, so he went to the pay window and got $33,687. Hillsdale native and Cheyenne East High School grad Brody Kress with an 83.5 in the saddle bronc. That was good enough for fifth in the round. He made $7,063. Brody Wells of Powell with an 80 last night in the saddle bronc. He was out of the money. The second round of the NFR will be tonight from the Thomas and Mack Center in Las Vegas. Women's college basketball, the Wyoming Cowgirls will be in Springfield tonight to take on Missouri State. Cowgirls are 4-4 on the year after taking 2 out of 3 at a tournament in Puerto Rico last week with wins over Drake and Virginia. Missouri State is 4-3 after losing 2 out of 3 in a tournament in the Virgin Islands last week. That's a 5:30 start from Springfield tonight. Junior college basketball, the Casper College teams will be in Gillette for the Border Wars tournament. The T-Bird men are 9-2. They'll play Miles City, Montana this afternoon and the North Dakota School of Science tomorrow afternoon. Casper College women, they're 7-4. They'll play the College of Southern Idaho this morning at 11 and Miles City tomorrow morning. The LCCC men's basketball team 5-5 on the year. They'll be at McCook, Nebraska tonight, and the LCCC women's team is 6-6 after a win over Lamar on Wednesday, and they will host McCook tonight and then North Platte, Nebraska tomorrow afternoon. Division I college volleyball, the Wyoming Cowgirls won their first round match in the NIVC tournament in Laramie with a straight set win over Idaho State. The UW is 16-12 on the year, and they will play Utah Valley in that tournament in Laramie tonight at 6 p.m. And that's it in sports.
So apparently as I head on down to Florida, tomorrow morning my flight leaves bright and early. As I leave, colder weather moves in behind me, but I'm bringing the warmer weather with me to Florida.
You know, the 60s down there isn't so bad.
No, not at all. No.
You know, just put a sweater on and everyone will be fine.
And some people wonder, why do Florida people bundle up when it's only in the 60s?
Because they're not used to it.
Well, not just that, but it's humid. So it's a humid cold.
Which can bite you.
Yes, it makes all the difference in the world. Trust me, having experienced both. When it is a dry cold here in Wyoming, plus it's a sunny day. Yeah, so I've been outside. I think you have too. It's been like 2 degrees, but there's no wind and it's sunny.
2 degrees in the Midwest or the East?
Yes. Yeah. It's not.
That's cold.
It is, but when there's no wind and it's direct sunshine noon, it's actually not bad.
Yeah.
But you go to Florida with high humidity and you get down to 65 degrees. That can be miserable.
It's got a little bit of teeth there at 65.
But, we don't tell Floridians that because that way we can make fun of them.
Yeah.
Which means making fun of me, too.
But then again, I think they know.
Yeah, I think, but no, some of them
maybe
don't.
They don't.
Shh. Okay. Thank you for coming up on some local business we have to take care. We're going to roll into news time after that. National, local, update on the weather forecast. Wake Up Wyoming.
Noon.
The time. It's Wake Up Wyoming. It's a Friday. I'm glad you made it.
Today's show is sponsored by pretzel flavored mustard.
Yum.
Why eat the pretzel when you can just eat the mustard?
And if you're a senior citizen, don't have any more teeth, don't worry about it. You don't have to chew.
Warning, this show contains reference to guns, liberty, limited government, low taxation, the cult of climate change, free thinking, cigar smoking, short people, rubber chickens, Karen's bureaucracy, liberal buzzwords, tour runs, traffic, toilet, terrible jokes, and more. No apologies will be issued. Guest callers may express any opinion they want without fear of being canceled. Unless you're a loudmouth jerk like Dave, then Glenn will hang up on you. Strap in, hold on to your coffee, and feel free to participate.
This disclaimer does not refer to every person named Dave, just one particular Dave from San Francisco. We know a lot of Daves. They call this show all the time, and they're great people. So don't call this program and complain that we use your name. That would be a real Dave move, Dave. Having an interesting conversation with Frank Gambino, the last segment of the program, about some cold weather coming in, because I'm heading next week. I'll be on vacation. I haven't really taken one all year, so next week I'll be on vacation in Florida. And as I leave here in Wyoming, the cold weather comes in behind me, and I drag the warm weather with me all the way down to Florida. So I got into a conversation about what feels cold, and where I was saying that humidity does have something to do with it. Because when I'm in Florida, and my sister just sent me a note here, sweater for 60 degrees, I have my heat on at 65. Yeah, well, okay, I'm convinced is actually a lizard person, because she does tend to fall out of trees when it gets cold enough and just lay there on the ground, not moving. But okay, for me though, when I'm in Florida, I do notice that it feels a lot colder. It could be 65 degrees, but man, it feels a lot worse than 65. And I think that has a lot to do with the humidity. Yet here in Wyoming, it was colder than that yesterday. And yet I didn't feel like I wanted a jacket on. It was colder than that, and it was in the 50s. Where I was, but it was sunny and almost no wind. So, I didn't even want to put a jacket on yesterday. I think that does make a difference when it's nice and sunny and really, really low humidity. All right. Next topic up here. So remember, California, they wanted to raise their minimum wage again to $20 an hour. And Gavin Newsom, their governor, among other people, were told, look, last time you raised the minimum wage to $15 an hour, a bunch of people lost their jobs. And a bunch of companies closed. Other companies left the state. And he denied that anything has happened. So they raised their minimum wage for restaurant employees, especially fast food workers, to $20 an hour. Well, immediately there was, bad things happened. But now we've got some more official numbers in.
Minimum wage!
All right, so let's take a look at the breakdown here. And by the way, those people like Gavin Newsom will continue to be in denial of this. But federal data says California has lost about 4,256 fast food jobs since the minimum wage took effect. Over 4,000. Now, again, the latest number, let me do that again. 4,256 jobs. And California Governor Gavin Newsom wrote in September in an opinion column, since the law was enacted in April of 2023, California has added 11,000 new jobs in the industry. Not true. While the Employment Policy Institute, a restaurant industry think tank, says fast food jobs have declined all totaled over the past few years by over 6,000 jobs. With fast food jobs bouncing widely from their low point in the winter to their high point in the summer, Newsom appeared to be selectively choosing data, it says. Fast food jobs grew a bit in March, about 406 jobs, but then dropped off again. Overall, they've lost, let me see here, while the year before grew by 9,000. Okay, so there are a little over 6,000 jobs total lost since the law officially became an enacted law. According to Revenue Management Solutions, a company that analyzes restaurant transaction to optimize pricing, California menu prices were also up 7.5% over the year. Fast food traffic is down. So let's take a look at this. Some companies closed. Some companies left the state. Number of jobs out there available down by over 6,000. This is so far so good. Prices have gone up to make up for the fast food minimum wage increase in California. And that means that the number of people going to eat at fast food places has gone down. Well, this is nothing but good, right? Quote, this decline is a clear indication that customers are opting to skip fast food altogether. Large corporations have looked to build robots to cut their costs. Chipotle has a machine that automatically makes and fills up burrito bowls, and others that automatically pits and peels avocados. Hang on. Let's see. Where do I have the minimum rant? Okay. I do have a bit for this. Millennial applies for a job. Workers rant. I know what it is. This is what, knowing this was going to happen, I mean, this is so easy to predict. Yeah, I'm looking it up. There we go. This is a bit that I wrote years ago, and it still applies to today. So if you hear the Obama reference in there, that's how old this bit is. But it was my pitch to people that if they're going to do this, if they're going to keep raising minimum wage like this, then you should invest in automation.
Have you ever heard of the American Automation Association? Oh, probably not. We're a company that produces high-quality automation systems, the kind that replace employees, thus saving corporations lots of money and increasing their personal profits. Now, no doubt you've seen some of our inventions every day. The self-serve automated checkout at the grocery store, thus saving money on checkout clerks. The self-serve gas pump, that was us too. No need for an attendant. The ATM machine at your local bank. Yep, that was us. And so many more gadgets that are behind the scenes that you may not even know about, like the automation machine at this very radio station that eliminates the need for a full-time employee to man the board. On behalf of the American Automation Association, we would like to thank the Democrat Party for pushing a minimum wage increase up to $15 an hour. Each time the minimum wage is increased, we at the AAA get more business from companies looking to get rid of their lower wage employees and replace them with automation. A $15 an hour minimum wage increase would be a boom for our business. Also, thanks for heaping piles of rules and regulations on local companies as well, and taxes and Obamacare. Thanks to socialism, business at American Automation is booming.
So continuing on with the article here, Chipotle is doing things like even avocado pitters. The story says, while official submitted data shows fast food jobs in June were down by 10,698 compared to 2023, the survey-based data cited by Newsom shows a much smaller decline. But, again, I'm very suspect of Newsom's data on this. But, we're talking about the feds coming in, of all people. Working through the Obama administration, saying the numbers are much higher. Let's see. Newsom's office dismissed the data. Of course they did, calling it bogus. Fine. Experts say the divergence between Newsom's reporting and the federal labor is use of which survey they chose to pick. A big problem in general, quote, this is a quote, is that the monthly data may be significantly overstating employment in the industry. So one group is saying unemployment may be a whole lot higher in the industry. Between September 2023 and June 2024, California lost about 3% of its private sector jobs, while the state's fast food sector hit about 1.1% of its jobs. The number of jobs in the fast food industry, which includes California, grew by 1.6% over the same time, suggesting California's fast food job losses are abnormally high. That's the moral of the story here. So, okay. This is what happened. And of course, Newsom is in complete denial of anything bad happening. Now we're paying these people more money. This is nothing but good. Newsom wants to, he said he wants to Trump-proof the state of California. I think California needs to Newsom-proof their state.
Every year, you pass your birthday and celebrate it. However, every year, you also pass your death day and have no clue. You just keep living your life until it just ends.
What?
And now, the weather.
Whoa, wait.
Well, that image is going to stick with you all day. Glenn Woods. He talks to you, not at you. Be part of the show at 888-97-WOODS. This is Wake Up Wyoming on K2 Radio.
7:22 is the time. It's Wake Up Wyoming. So, Dr. John Mansell from Gillette gave me a call. John, your call dropped, so I had to call you back a different way. So, morning. Sorry about what I had to send you this morning. It was about the insurance companies and your job.
Just when we thought they couldn't find another way to try to starve us out of our work, one of the insurance companies in Connecticut, whose name I won't say, decided they would just cap the amount of time they would pay for an anesthetic, which I thought was pretty funny because, when a psychiatrist says our time is up, that's one thing. But when your anesthesiologist says, I guess you'll be waking up for the remainder of your surgery, that's slightly different implications.
Can't you just club them?
Can't you just what?
Club them. Just knock them out.
Club them?
No,
yes, 200,000 years ago, that was the anesthetic technique of choice.
No.
We've come a long way since then.
Oh, okay. So your technology has improved since then. Okay. When I look at this, though, it looked like it's on the billing end of it. So what do you do? In other words, it goes over what the insurance company is willing to pay as far as how you're going to keep the patient out no matter what. While the patient's going through surgery, you're not going to suddenly go, whoops, time's up. I guess I better wake them. You're going to keep them down until it's time to bring them back. And it makes it sound like you're bringing them back from death when I say it that way, but you understand what I mean. So then you, as the doctor, get the bill saying that they're only going to pay half of it. Now what?
So basically, if you're not prepared, you basically just have to take what they give you, which is part of why in the first Trump administration he had managed to overturn part of a very old law from 1947 called the McCarran-Ferguson Act. And that particular law gave insurance companies a pass on antitrust actions. And so Trump managed to overturn a good chunk of McCarran-Ferguson, which put the insurance companies on notice. But obviously there's still some work to do because they can still do things like this. One of the ways that, and this happens to hospitals because they're capped on how long someone can get paid for being in an operating room, and it also happens to surgeons to some extent. And the real, I can't call it a crime, but the real ethical challenge here is when you have a particular procedure and a patient asks you, hey, how long is this going to take? The standard answer from us is as long as it takes to do a technically perfect job. We're not in a hurry. We want to be careful. We want it to be perfect. And certainly the hospital doesn't control how long it's going to take. Certainly the anesthesiologist doesn't control. And the surgeon, if there's a problem in doing a particular elective or emergency procedure, they don't control it either. They inherit what they get, and they have to take care of the problem. So having someone with a stopwatch in a cubicle in an insurance company and they're overwatching shareholders tell us how long we're going to get to do a procedure, it seems ethically challenged.
Okay, now, I understand the insurance companies, not just for their bottom line and their shareholders, but they would like to reduce costs. There's got to be a better way to do this, to go ahead and streamline costs for everybody, because the surgery, it needs to be done. But then again, some patients, just their pockets are not that deep. There's got to be a way to bureaucracy. I don't know. How can you reduce costs without sticking someone with a bill like this?
Well, one great way to do it would be to quit fixing prices within the deductible.
Yeah.
Under virtually all insurance, health insurance policies right now, you have a deductible of somewhere between $2,000 and $12,000, just depending on which company you're with. And within the deductible, if you're a patient in network and I'm a provider, a physician in network, I'm still required to charge you whatever the rate is. I'm not allowed to haggle with you to give you a lower price to try to get your business. And that's one particular thing. If we just forbade that one thing in the state of Wyoming, just that one, it would cost the state nothing, and it would actually put price signaling back in the deductible. So a patient could call around and haggle with, 4 or 5 different vendors for an MRI or for a hernia surgery, and suddenly you'd find there'd be price point competition within healthcare, which is what we really need.
Right. So when you, as a doctor, if you got, and especially an anesthesiologist, if you bill the insurance company and the insurance company comes back and says, well, we're only going to pay for half of this, there is no way you can stay in business and eat that cost. So you're going to end up passing that on to the patient. And so where they thought they were going to have to pay a heavy deductible before, now they're going to get hit with this.
Right, and so what that's led to across the industry over the last 20 years is what's called the advanced benefit notice, and that's an agreement the patient signs with everybody, the facilities, surgeons, anesthesiologists, that if the insurance company won't pay, then they have to pay the balance. And no one ever likes having to invoke we call it the ABN for short. Mm-hmm. No one likes invoking that. I mean, already the insurance premiums are pretty costly to people, either directly or because it comes out of their paycheck.
And real quick, the clock's ticking on us here before news rips it away, but I know you're having a similar problem when it comes to things like Medicare.
Yeah, Medicare, since 1993, Medicare has paid us less than the cost of the care, and now that Medicare and Medicaid make up 65% of the healthcare market, I mean, there are 145 million people now on Medicare and Medicaid. Every part of the healthcare system is struggling to stay afloat, especially hospitals. I sit on a hospital board as well, and, up to 70% of hospitals were in the red last year.
Mm. Wow. And okay. And especially for rural hospitals, that means more closures.
Exactly. I can't give you the exact statistics, but I'd say easily more than a third of Wyoming hospitals are listed on the vulnerable hospitals who only have so much reserve cash on hand to be able to stay open. Right. There are other fixes for that, but the main one is quit having the government shoplift healthcare.
Yeah, all right. Thank you for calling in, John. I appreciate it. John is a anesthesiologist and pain doctor as well. He's all the way up in Gillette, Wyoming, talking to us about an insurance company not in our state, in other states, that wants to limit the amount of time he as an anesthesiologist can provide service, what they're going to pay for, in other words. So that means the patient gets stuck with much more of a bill than they would have before. It was supposed to be covered by insurance. Coming up on some local news that we have to take care of, we're going to roll into weather forecast after that. I do have something to say about this when we come out of news and weather. It's Wake Up Wyoming.
This show contains sarcasm that some listeners may find disturbing. A sense of humor is advised. Chat with Glenn live on the Wake Up Wyoming app.
7:36 the time. It's Wake Up Wyoming. I didn't want to get into a deep topic like this morning, but okay. I can handle this real quick, though, just because it's something I've talked about many times in the past. If you're just joining me, there's a topic I brought up earlier this morning, and Dr. John Mansell, who's up in Gillette, Wyoming, who, among other things, is an anesthesiologist. He just called the program about this. And not in Wyoming, but in some other states, there's an insurance company who wants to limit the amount of time that an anesthesiologist can bill for. And this is the guy who, if you're going in for surgery, puts you under. So if you're under for too long, they're not going to pay for all of that. Don't worry, that doesn't mean that he wakes you up in the middle of surgery. It's not that. But the bill is only going to be partially paid. The doctor will bill him, the anesthesiologist will, and they're not going to pay the whole thing. This is part of what insurance companies will do. And in part, yes, there's some lousy insurance companies out there. But in part, it's also government interference in all the wrong ways. So there's a lot to unpack to fix problems like this. Now, I've been in a conversation, Big Wave and Casper and I have been going back and forth about how people get insurance through their business. Let me give you an example, though, of a few years ago. There was a guy that I was talking to by video chat in the UK. This guy grew up in the UK. And during the course of our conversation, and we were comparing life in America to life in the UK, and he said, well, we have free health care here in the UK. And I laughed, literally, and said, no, you don't. Oh, yes, we do. We have absolutely. Okay, now, during the course of this conversation, I asked him if he had been paid recently, and he had.
And he was still getting a paper paycheck. I say that because, most people now, most people now get their pay by direct deposit. But he was still getting paper paychecks. Do you have a pay stub? He said, yeah. And he opened up a drawer and pulled out a pay stub. Show me on that pay stub where they deduct in the UK for your health care. And he says, yeah, they deduct for health care, right? Oh, God. And he realized he was sunk at that point. He had lost the argument. Because there's absolutely no way his health care is free if they're taxing him for it. That means he's paying for it. And then he said, well, we don't pay that much. You sure? Just take a look at how much they deducted compared to how your paycheck. What percentage of your paycheck are they taking here? I see him go bug-eyed because he didn't realize he was paying that much. And when you hear, well, we're going to make the rich pay for it, it never works out that way. Yes, they'll tax the rich a lot, but everybody pays for it. Recently, some people in Canada saying the same thing. Hey, you get free health care up here. No, you don't. So when you're at work and you hear that your company pays for part of your health care, do they? Does your company, by law, your company has to pay for part of your health care? But if they did, that's part of your compensation package. But what if by law they did not have to? Then you would be getting a bigger paycheck. What, do you think your company's paying for that? No. When your company goes to hire you, they think about how much they're going to pay you in wages, but what else are you going to cost them? There's things like unemployment insurance and other things like that, other different types of insurance on you as an employee. But then by law, they have to pay part of your health coverage and et cetera, et cetera. And so to hire an employee, there's the salary plus all of the other things the company has to pay for in order to keep an employee. Ask an accountant about it. And it can be quite a bit. And if those things didn't, just for sake of argument, if all of those things didn't exist, then you could get a bigger salary. You would actually get more cash. You wouldn't have all the benefits that the company provides for you, but you would be getting it instead in just straight cash, and you can go off and buy what you wanted. The idea that, well, the company pays for it. The company does not pay for it. You pay for it. The company passes it on. That's why whenever you hear, well, we're going to tax those big corporations, go ahead. They're not going to pay for it. They're just going to raise their prices. Big corporations are not paying all of these taxes. The American people are by raising their prices. It's one of those out of sight, out of mind things. You don't have to reach into your pocket for it. So, and I've had people say that, well, I get this, medication or whatever it might be, and I don't have to pay for it. It's free through my health insurance. Really? How much do you pay for health insurance? Then it isn't free, is it? It seems free because you didn't have to reach into your wallet. But it's not free because you're still paying for your health insurance, which then pays for it. They hide a cost from you. Since you didn't have to physically reach into your wallet, you have the impression that what you're getting is free. And trust me, it ain't free.
This program is intended for immature audiences only. Wake Up Wyoming with Glenn Woods. Weekdays at 6 on air, on Alexa, and 24/7 on the Wake Up Wyoming app.
Don Dave from Day Weather, who you're just sitting there in anticipation of changing weather, aren't you?
Yes, but at the same time also, I am enjoying the blue skies, the beautiful sunrises and sunsets, and the lack of wind over the last few days has just been remarkable.
Yeah, and in fact, when I stepped out this morning to head to work, I look up and the stars were just absolutely magnificent up there. Okay, so how much longer we got?
We got today, and, tomorrow most of the state will have some pretty good weather, but you will notice the winds starting to kick in tomorrow. The winds, when they pick up, that means the pattern's changing. This big high-pressure ridge is finally beginning to break down, and a cold front that's now forming along the coast of British Columbia is going to be pushing in rather rapidly into the Pacific Northwest by tomorrow, and then by Sunday, it's going to make its move through the Rockies.
Okay. Now, when it does, I notice as you've talked about snow with this, we get some, but it's like kind of like when you say, yeah, but it's a dry heat, but it's a dry snow.
Yeah, there's not going to be a lot of snow with this. I think the best chances of accumulating snow will be the I-90 corridor, the northern mountains, the Black Hills, the western mountains of the state. We're going to see scattered light snow across the plains. Okay, so there's going to be some, but it's not going to be organized. It's going to be spotty. And in areas that get snow won't get much. What you're going to notice is the wind, especially on Sunday. And then it's going to be raw. It's just going to be windy and quite cold, only 20s and 30s for highs Monday and Tuesday. You know, that's a far cry from where we are right now. So it's going to be enough of change to get us back to winter, but this is not the type of system that's a big snowmaker.
Okay. See, what's really important here is that you fix that forecast so when I come back, it's nice.
I don't know, Glenn. You know, there may be a lot of people not happy with the fact that you're taunting us with your trip to Florida.
Well, I don't care. Say what you want. I'll be in Florida. But no, I do look at this time of year as I know we can't really trust the longer term forecast, but I tend to look up north of us to see what's rotating around up there to get an idea of what the Canadians are setting up to shoot at us.
Well, there's a lot of snow falling in Canada. The snow cover up there is impressive, and they're going to be getting more this weekend. The stage is set for eventually for some of that cold stuff to get south into the region, but I don't see any severe cold here for a little bit longer. Maybe when you get back or after you get back.
Okay.
But for the next week or so, but you know, it was 24 in Atlanta this morning.
Wow.
Yeah, so there you go. It was colder in Atlanta this morning than some parts of Wyoming.
Okay. Well, I will see you in a week from now.
You have a good time.
See you on the radio. All right. Also, we go to Frank Gambino's waiting by in the icebox. So already as I'm heading down to Florida next week, I have people who are telling me that they want me to pick them up stuff and come back with it.
Yeah, I'll you know what, just ship it to them.
Yeah, that's what I said.
You're not going to bring it on the plane.
No, I'm not.
But you take a picture of it. Say, is this what you want? I'll order it and I will ship it to you.
Yes, and actually that's what I do whenever I come back with stuff. If I do some shopping down there, I found the best thing to do rather than trying to bring it to the airport. Then I got to carry all that.
You know what? Just go to the beach and put some sand in your shoe, which will be there anyway.
Yes.
And wear the shoes back there. And then when you get to this place, just dump it out.
Yeah. Here's what I've done in the past.
Shell's the same way.
Yeah, I've done the same thing. I have brought. Well, you've seen in my studio here. I have 3 different shells representing the 3 different islands that I was on as a kid.
Mm-hmm.
And so I brought people shells and stuff like that. But while you're there, would you pick me up? If you don't mind me...
Orange juice.
Something like that. Yeah. If you don't mind me mailing it to you, fine. Other than that, no. I'm just... Sorry, I'm not going to go shopping. I'm on vacation. I'm not down there to shop for you.
Yeah, they can get on Amazon just like everyone else.
Yeah, they probably can. But I did find, though, some time ago, since I have one bag that I carry with me, which is, you'll like this bag. Not only is it nice looking, I can carry it like a duffel bag.
Mm-hmm.
It has wheels with an extendable arm, or I can put it on as a backpack.
Oh, wow, that's cool.
And it fits perfectly in the overhead bin, and that's all I carry.
Yeah, it's all you need.
Yes, if there's ever anything more, whether I'm going down there with presents or coming back with stuff, I just go to the post office.
That's all you need.
And I ship the thing. Yeah.
Don't even bother bringing that stuff back.
No, I don't. In fact, I have gone down to visit family, and I wanted to bring presents with me. And they started to question me beforehand, why do we have boxes arriving? And my answer was, don't open them.
Just not until Christmas.
Yeah, but they don't listen to me. They open them anyway. Oh, thanks for sending a whatever, But I'll go ahead and send them stuff and send myself back stuff. I know it costs a little extra, but sometimes it's worth paying for the convenience.
Yes,
it really is.
Yes, I get that. The National Finals Rodeo kicked off last night in Las Vegas, and the bareback Weston Timberman, who was born in Casper and is the nephew of Wyoming native and former Wyoming world champion Kelly Timberman, won the first round with an 87. So he earned $33,687 for winning the round. And Timmerman is the two-time college national finals champion in this event, competing for Clarendon College in Texas. Buffalo native Cole Ryder with an 83.5 in the bareback last night. He was out of the money. In the Saddle Bronc, defending world champion and former Sheridan College Cowboy Zeke Thurston won the first round with an 86.5. So he hit the pay window and got $33,687. Hillsdale native and Cheyenne East High School grad Brody Kress with an 83.5. That was good enough for fifth. So he made a little bit of money, $7,063. Brody Wells of Powell with an 80 last night in the Saddle Bronc. He was out of the money. Second round of the NFR will be tonight from the Thomas and Mack Center in Las Vegas. Women's college hoops, the Wyoming Cowgirls will be in Springfield to take on Missouri State tonight. The Cowgirls are 4-4 on the year after taking 2 out of 3 in a tournament in Puerto Rico last week with wins over Drake and Virginia. Missouri State is 4-3 after losing 2 out of 3 in a tournament in the Virgin Islands last week. That's a 5:30 start from Springfield tonight. JUCO basketball, the Casper College teams in Gillette for the Border Wars tournament. The T-Bird men are 9-2, and they'll play Miles City, Montana this afternoon and the North Dakota School of Science tomorrow afternoon. Casper College women's team 7-4. They'll play the College of Southern Idaho this morning at 11 and Miles City tomorrow morning. The LCCC men's basketball team 5-5 on the year. They'll be at McCook, Nebraska tonight, and the LCCC women's team is 6-6 after a win over Lamar on Wednesday. They will host McCook tonight and host North Platte, Nebraska tomorrow afternoon. Division I volleyball, the Wyoming Cowgirls won their first round match in the NIVC tournament in Laramie with a straight set win over Idaho State. UW is 16-12, and they move on to the next round. They'll play Utah Valley in a loser-out thing in that tournament in Laramie, and that will begin at 6 p.m. And that's it in sports.
And I trust you've taken all your vacation for the year, right?
No, I'm leaving on the 18th.
Oh, really? You are?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I'm going to go to Chicago first.
Okay.
And I'm going to Florida.
Oh, okay. Good choices there. Now, the only time I've been in Chicago is when they've routed me through Chicago to get back to Denver.
Yeah, when I land there, I walk all past these people who have never left the airport.
Yeah.
It's kind of like Atlanta.
Yeah.
Nobody really goes to Atlanta.
No.
But everyone goes to Atlanta to go to somewhere else. But they never leave the airport.
I'm going to let you know, there's a saying in the South. If you die and go to hell, you'll have a changeover in Atlanta. That's actually a Southern saying, and that's about right. And I've been stuck in the Atlanta airport a couple of times because bad weather shut everything down. I actually am impressed with a couple of airports that are not bad. Charlotte, North Carolina, and since they've upgraded Denver, it's not bad.
Oh, I think Denver's a fantastic airport.
Yeah,
it's clean, it's big.
The problem is it's long.
Yeah,
I have to run from one side of the airport.
No, you grab the golf cart and just plead innocence.
No, I like jogging on the people movers. I feel like the fastest I've been since I was 19 years old.
Then people like me look at you like,
what the hell are you doing here? Trying to get somewhere, pal. Out of the way. All right, thank you, Frank. Coming up on some... By the way, if you're not going to walk or run on the people mover, you're supposed to get off to the right side. Just so you know. All right. Coming up on some local business, we got to take care of news time, national, local update on the weather forecast. You and I get back into it again. Open phones, we'll attempt it. 8 o'clock hour, Wake Up Wyoming. 6 the time. It's Wake Up Wyoming. It is a Friday, and I'm glad you made it.
The show was sponsored by Pretzel Flavored Mustard. Why eat the pretzel when you can just eat the mustard?
Yep, and you don't even have to worry about chewing it. And if you have false teeth, just take them out and go for it.
Warning. Wake Up Wyoming is about to enter daily open phones. This means that anyone will be allowed to call in and talk about anything. I mean, imagine if we actually allowed you on air to say anything you wanted. Scary, right? Well, we're just that brand of crazy. If you are offended by what other people think, then maybe you want to tune out right about now. Just saying. If you should choose to call, just remember, the more funny and interesting you are, the longer Glenn will keep you on the line. Obnoxious jerks will be hung up on. Dave, all right, strap in, and let's do this thing.
888-97 Woods, the phone number, 888-97-WOODS. You can talk about what I'm talking about, change the subject, fine by me. We are having a little bit of a phone problem, but Mary and I found a clever way around it. So if you call in and there's a problem, we have a workaround for that. Also, I'm going to go ahead and do it anyway, Mary. While we're at it, since Mary's leaving, she has found a better opportunity, and she's moving on to it, which breaks my heart because I've been working so well with her for quite a few years now. But if you want to go ahead and say goodbye to Mary, this is your day to do it because this is her last day. I go on vacation next week. When I come back, it's just going to be you and me until we can find somebody to replace the irreplaceable Mary. So 888-97-WOODS is the phone number. Okay. Get your tin hats out.
I'm protected because I made this hat from aluminum foil. Where it had this foil line in case an alien's inclined to probe your butt or read your mind. Looks a bit peculiar. Seems a little crazy, but someday I'll prove there's a big conspiracy.
Found this bit. I wish I had written this bit, and it's two conspiracy theorists who are having an argument.
Space program? Such BS. We all know that the moon landing was fake.
You can't be serious right now.
A what? You don't actually believe we landed on the moon, do you? It was 1,000% staged. It was filmed in a studio by Stanley Kubrick so we could win the space race and stick it to the Russians. Duh.
Chandler, of course we landed on the moon. That's where we met the aliens that gave us our modern technology.
Aliens on the moon? Get real. There are no aliens. Except, of course, the aliens that crash landed in Roswell in 1949 and are currently being stored in Area 51.
Come on, that was a weather balloon. A weather balloon that was shot down because it was on its way west to prove that the Earth is flat.
Flat Earth?
Oh, you're not one of those globers, are you? How do you think the dinosaurs died? It got cold, they tried to migrate to a warmer climate, and they fell off the edge.
Now that is complete lunacy. Dinosaurs never existed. Their bones were planted by Satan to disprove the existence of God.
There's literally no proof of that.
Oh, there's plenty of evidence. But sadly, it's all locked away in the Vatican archives, along with the body of the real Paul McCartney, the very much alive Elvis Presley, and the cryogenically frozen head of Walt Disney. And, of course, several tons of Nazi gold.
Oh, so you believe in the Holocaust now? That was fabricated by the global Jewish conspiracy. No one had ever even heard of the Holocaust until the Jews produced the 1994 propagandist film Schindler's List.
You are crazy. Jewish people don't rule the world. There is no Jewish conspiracy or Illuminati or New World Order. The world is clearly run by the profiteering, tax-dodging, multinational lizard people.
Lizard people? Wow, you are a complete nut job. Get out of my house.
Gladly.
That was absolutely brilliant. So I'm going to take this one. I'm going to save that one because it's got to get played from time to time. And I'm going to swing it. And by the way, I know people, I'm sure you do as well, that believe all sorts of different things like that, even contradictory things, which is just fun talking to them. But that's okay. Look, by the way, there are places where you can go to buy a tin hat. Who the hell are you?
Oh, I'm just here looking for a tin hat.
Why?
I'd rather not say out loud.
Good answer. Is the problem terrestrial threat or outer space?
Outer space, I suspect.
CIA, KGB, gray, or reptile?
Probably a combination, but I can't tell which combo.
Since you're not sure, probably need 3 or more sheets, conventional headgear lined with electromagnetic fields, mind control, and mind reading. Do you have a cat?
Yeah, I do have a cat.
You'll need one, too. If they're from Vogon, they'll probably watch you through your cat.
Where did you learn all of this?
That's classified.
Oh, is it? Well, it just seems odd that you know so much.
Seems odd that you ask so many questions.
You have trouble making sales, don't you?
Only sell to those I trust. So, yeah. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and try this here. So what we have is a phone system that hasn't been working very well. And we're getting some people to look at it, by the way. But we do have a workaround, so I'm going to go ahead and see if I can get a hold of Mike, who's in Laramie. Do you hear that? That's a workaround system that we have calling. And so now Mike is on the phone with us. Hi, Mike.
Hi, Glenn.
Yes, sir.
I made my farewells to Miss Mary.
Good.
And the woman is incorruptible.
Yes, she is.
I offered her 4 puppies.
Oh, God. And here's the thing, and I'm very serious about this because she really is into dogs. When she said she was leaving, I told her, I will go buy you a puppy. And then she laughed. I'm like, no, really, Mary, I will buy you a puppy. But, okay. I think the only stipulation I had is that the puppy has to stay at work so she can't leave.
Yeah, then I threw in 2 baby horses on top of that.
Yeah, I know where you're going to store those things.
Said my final offer: 4 puppies, 2 baby horses, and 3 baby elephants.
See, now I could see some horses wandering up and down the hallways. In fact, to tell a good story from Miss Mary, there is a goat rescue place in Wyoming, and they had a bunch of baby goats in diapers. And Mary wanted to get them some publicity, so those people showed up, and we had a morning. All of our studios and offices had a bunch of baby goats in diapers running around.
I remember that day.
Yes.
Anyway, I had a suggestion. When you go on vacation, maybe you should get some guest hosts. Can you imagine either Chuck Gray or, better yet, Judy for a whole week?
God.
Judy, 20 hours of Judy venting.
Here's the problem with Judy, though. See, now, I like Judy a lot. But I have, the dump button that I have over here?
Yes,
I've had to use it on Judy because she gets passionate and she accidentally cusses. And she wouldn't know to hit the dump button on herself. So I have to, unless someone is running the board for her, and then there's the next thing. Now, Chuck Gray would know how to run the controls because his family owns radio stations and he's done this job. So to get the Secretary of State in, he at least knows how to, run this kind of stuff. Other than that, there are people who would, I think, be good speakers, but we would have to have someone like Mary here running the controls for them because they don't know how to do it.
Okay, that was just a suggestion.
That's a good idea. No, what we will do, though, is there's a whole bunch of repeats, and these are topics that I've talked about with you guys that really got a lot of attention, and people don't mind hearing them again. Plus, some of the best funny bits that we produce in-house will be replayed, too. So.
Okay, well, have a nice vacation.
I
hope Mary does well in her new job.
I'm certainly she will. Yeah, thank you for calling in. I appreciate that. So 888-97-WOODS, the phone number, 888-97-WOODS. Whether you want to talk to me or just say goodbye to Mary. Rick in Cheyenne says, Glenn, what leads you to believe I take my tinfoil hat off? Skater D-Cat. Oh, I'm sorry, I said that wrong. Scare D-Cat, who's in Casper. Morning, Glenn. Sorry to hear Miss Mary is moving on. Sounds like you are all going to fill her role, yes? What is her role? Is the job already posted? Well, here's the thing. So Mary does a lot for me on this program. Running a program like this, as you know, takes a lot of my time, and it's on more than one radio station. So it does take a lot of my time. And Mary picks up a lot of that slack. And that comes to booking guests. She listens to the program and grabs stuff that would be good repeat stuff that's not time sensitive. And she puts those repeat shows together. And she also just keeps my schedule going with there's commercials that come in. I mean, the list goes on and on. But that's what she does for me. And then she does a lot of other things for Town Square Media beyond that. So it's not just a job where you sit down and just run the board and help me with my stuff. There's a lot of other stuff in the company that she's been doing. And so my thought is they would probably have to hire more than one person to replace her. But Rick, if you want to apply for the job, I'm sorry, Scaredy Cat, if you want to apply for the job, go ahead. Chet Yoda says, bye, Miss Mary. Good luck with your future endeavors. I appreciate that. So again, if you want to go ahead and just call and say goodbye to her, this would be her last day. 888-97-WOODS, the phone number.
Listen to Glenn Woods anywhere you roam with the Wake Up Wyoming mobile app. This is AM 1030 K2 Radio.
8:22 is the time. It's Wake Up Wyoming. Back we go to the phones. And she promised now, after she got done with a meeting with representatives, with elected officials in her area, she's not going to cuss. Hey, Jude.
Hey, good morning, Glenn, and I hope you have a good vacation.
Oh, yeah, thank you.
I'll bring that fudge by in a bit for you guys. Okay, now we went to the county commissioner meeting the other night, and there was a gentleman there that spoke against the solar farm out there in Natrona. I think his name was Charles Putman, and he was very eloquent with his 5 minutes to the commission. And the point that he brought up is there's more than just a few families out there that this is going to affect. That if you start counting, I went out the other day to take some stuff to my Natrona property, and I counted almost 71 families along 2026 with the mailboxes, because each family has a mailbox, right? So I counted all the mailboxes, and then I looked at Pine Mountain, and those are broke up into 40-acre lots too. So there's like about 500 families that will be affected by this solar farm. And we need them to show up at the January 21st meeting and tell them reasons why. Now, one thing that did upset me with the commission the other night is one of the commissioners said, well, we don't want to hear about health and safety. And I'm thinking, well, that's your job, is to protect the health and safety of your constituents, pal.
Yeah.
And it just kind of, it rubbed me the wrong way. So I started thinking about this, and I told him too, I said, you made me, as a person with cars on my property out there, get a conditional use permit so the county can inspect when they want and look at things when they want and make sure I'm not doing anything, that's going to harm the aquifer or my neighbors. They didn't ask for a conditional use from this company, and I was shocked by that. I thought, so there's no oversight. There's no local oversight. If there's a complaint, if there's a fire, if there's something, the state will come in and look at it, right? But to me, that's a little late, don't you think?
Yeah.
Waiting for something to happen before there would be any kind of inspection. Secondly, one of the fellows, Kelly Birch, has taken the commissioners out there to show them that this solar farm, that where it's proposed, is too close to the neighboring properties. So they're going to have to figure something out with that. There's also the gullies that flood every year. So what are they going to do with that? They need 260 million gallons of water every year. And that works out to 45,000 truckloads a year that has to go in and out of there on either the Natrona road that's there, or they're going to have to get some other way into it.
For those people who don't know, for those people who don't know, if it's a solar farm, what do they need the water for?
To keep the solar panels defrosted.
Okay.
They say they're going to haul the water in. Well, it just happens to be that the owner of the land also hauls water. And he also hauls gravel.
Mm-hmm.
So guess what? He's making $1 million a year. Plus he's going to get half of the contract for that, and everybody else is going to get nothing.
Yeah.
And then we're told not to bring up the health and safety issue of it. Well, the fire marshal told planning they don't have the equipment or the manpower to put out any kind of fire out there. And we have fires all along 2026 every year, whether it be from somebody flicking a cigarette butt out the window or lightning, something always happens. Now, if this place catches on fire in any way, shape, or form, the closest fire station is over 25 minutes away. And if it's a solar panel fire or a battery fire, they can't do anything about it. And then this Mr. Putman brought up something I thought was pretty interesting. He said the city dump can only take 2 panels that are broken. And what happens if 30 of them come in that are broken?
Well, on that note, those solar panels, which have a lifespan, they're not there forever. And at some point, they all need to be disposed of, which can be more difficult to do than trying to dispose of wind turbine blades.
Oh, $297,000 on that farm alone. Yeah. That's a lot of panels to get rid of.
Right.
And the chemicals that are in those panels are no good. And, the point that these guys are bringing up, I'd like to see a conditional use permit put in place, and buffering and screening needs to be looked at one more time, because they vibrate, they make sound, they interrupt with like your satellite TV, your phones. What if Dana or I have a heart attack out there? How are we going to get help if we can't call out?
Well, now, in that case, you're talking solar panels or wind turbines do that?
The solar panels, they have a humming with their batteries.
Oh, okay.
And the humming is really, really, it affects your brain wave is what it does.
Right.
And it's dangerous. So anyway, I just kind of wanted to remind everybody, January 21st, we need to come out in force. They're picking apart my PowerPoint that Rose and I had, and they're bringing in their experts. So if anybody's an expert in water or pipelines or gullies or wells or wind or solar, please attend, because we got to hit these guys big time. One of the commissioners said he needs something to hang his hat on. Well, I think health and safety is a pretty big rack.
Right, yeah. All right.
You know, if this is going to hurt people, then it needs to be stopped.
Tim and Casper said, shouldn't solar and wind follow the same EPA and environmental impact studies that oil rigs have to abide by? And the answer is yes, but I don't think they do.
No, and then without a conditional use permit, there's nobody locally going to go out there and say, hey, you can't do that.
Right. All right.
You know?
Thank you, Judy. We'll talk again in a week.
All right. Yep.
Coming up on some local news we have to take care. On that note, somebody did send me something on solar farms, which some of the information I had heard before, some I hadn't, so I'm going to go ahead and play that for you, plus more of your phone calls. 888-97-WOODS, 888-97-WOODS, right after we get through the news at the bottom of the hour and an update on your weather forecast. It's Wake Up Wyoming.
Want to talk to Glenn? Call 888-97-WOODS or chat him on the Wake Up Wyoming mobile app. This is AM 1030 K2 Radio.
8:36 the time. It's Wake Up Wyoming. So, okay. A little follow-up here. If you just missed it, we got a call from Judy, who's out in the Mills, Wyoming area. And somebody wants to put up a big, really big solar farm. He's been approached by a company. He's got land out there. And he also trucks water and gravel. So not only would he make money because the solar farm would be put on his land, but he also makes money with the gravel and the water. To that, Jeff asked the question, what's wrong with a person who owns land putting a solar farm up on his own land? I'm not a solar fan, but I'm not going to tell someone what they can and can't do with their own property. And while I agree with you completely on that, Jeff, I have no problem with this guy, if he's offered a deal for solar panels on his land, go for it. It's a great idea. If he's getting a bunch of money, then he gets to make even more money by hauling gravel for the solar farm and water, lots of water. And I didn't know solar farms needed that much water, but apparently they do. Okay, well, cool. But that's not really what Judy's well. And if Judy is complaining about that, I would have to say let the guy make his money, but. There are some legitimate complaints, though, about a solar farm of that size and its impact on the environment. Because wind and solar is not clean, despite what you've been told. Not clean, not green, not affordable, not sustainable, not reliable, and in some ways can even be kind of dangerous to the water supply, to animals in the area, migration corridors, et cetera, et cetera. So environmentally, the impact is significant. And if people in the area are worried about the environmental impact of a solar farm, I'm with them on that. Now, let's just for the fun of it pretend that there wasn't much of an environmental impact. And so go ahead, put up the farm. And I hope you make a ton of money at it. For me, that's no different than running cattle on your farm or growing crops or whatever. You can make a ton of money, go for it. But there is a huge environmental impact on putting up that many solar panels in any area. And that's often not discussed because you're told it's clean, it's green, it's affordable, it's reliable, it's sustainable. And it's none of those things. Now, on that note, I'm going to play something for you that somebody sent me on my social media this morning.
Did you know that solar panels are not actually environmentally friendly? The lifespan of a solar panel can be used for a maximum of 30 years. The world seems to be facing a new recycling crisis when the solar panel farms that started in the 2010 S run out of life after about 20 years. Only 1 in 10 solar panels can be repaired. In addition to the fact that 80% of a panel is made of glass, it also contains a lot of valuable materials, and since all of these parts are intertwined, it is extremely difficult and expensive to separate them. That's why most of these panels are ground up and left to nature as waste. That's why.
Okay, so this also has to do with what do you do with all of that after they're ground up and become a powder and become some kind of waste that we have to get rid of, which is one of the and then there's what to do with all the batteries, because solar farms and wind farms, you don't take the electricity directly to the grid. The wind is always fluctuating. In fact, if you ever you go by a wind farm in Wyoming and you see the big blade turning, right? And it looks like it's turning slow. It's not. It's turning really fast. It's just the size of it makes it look like it's really slow, but it's moving at a pretty good clip. Now, take that big, slow turning blade there, cranking electricity, and do a time lapse of it, which I've done. And using my phone, I've done a time lapse of it. And you'll see that the blade is constantly speeding up and slowing down because the wind is always blowing, gusting, changing speed, changing direction, right? So because of that, wind farms don't drop their electricity directly onto the grid. They go through a battery farm system that brings them, uploads them onto the grid in a different way. And I've had people argue with me, well, those battery farms, I don't see them here in Wyoming. Yeah, but they're out there. They are out there. And then solar panels are the same thing. Even if you have a perfectly blue, clear sky day, the atmosphere is always waving, which is why at night the stars twinkle, right? The atmosphere is always waving. And so, especially even on days where there's partly cloudy and so on, the amount of sunlight that the solar panels are getting is constantly fluctuating. So again, that electricity cannot be dumped directly on the grid because it's constantly fluctuating. So there's your battery farms for you. And that turns out to be toxic to create, toxic to use, toxic to dispose of. So this is where a lot of the complaints come from as far as the farms. Plus, a lot of what Judy was talking about, she has some legitimate concerns there. I am not opposed to people if they have a good idea making money. But I do agree with Tim, who sends me this note. Shouldn't solar and wind follow the same EPA and environmental impact studies that oil rigs have to abide by? Yes, they should. They honestly should. I don't mind at all if anyone wants to drill or dig for energy, go for it. Well, the only thing I think government should be involved in that, I mean, let the free market do what it does. But just make sure that while they're extracting the energy, they're doing it in a clean, environmentally friendly way. No, CO2 is not a pollutant. And when they're done, they clean up anything that so you can't tell that they were there when they're done extracting the energy. That's why we have a government to just make sure. And I think that's best, not at the federal level, but at the state level, that we have standards on the state level. And I would keep those standards reasonable. Not so unreasonable that these people can't get any work done. I would make sure we're talking about reasonable standards of cleanliness while they're working and how they clean up when they're done. So I don't care if it's coal, natural gas, oil, or wind or solar. Everybody should have some reasonable standards to work by. And in the not in every case, but in the vast majority of cases, people who are working energy, they live on the land that they are producing on, so they tend to take care of it. Much like you farmers and ranchers out there, you live where you're producing your cattle or your crops, and so you tend to take care of that land because, well, it's your livelihood. It's when companies come from out of state or sometimes out of country that they don't care as much, which is why we have our government to set up certain kinds of standards. But again, reasonable standards that will make sure that people are reasonably clean, but not so onerous that they can't do business at all. So, all right, to put up a solar farm, especially the size that they're talking about, out where Judy lives, and I know exactly the area that she's talking about. At this point, I will agree with her that the county did not take everything into consideration, and I would ask them, do that. I mean, listen to what she's saying. I know Judy shows up at your meetings all the time, and a lot of times when Judy shows up in a meeting, which is pretty much every single time, the commissioners are going, oh, God, here we go again. But no, she's got a point here. And so go ahead and take a look at what she's saying as far as impact on the environment, because these things are not as clean or green or affordable or reliable or sustainable as you have been led to believe. There are some serious environmental concerns when it comes to a massive solar farm being put up out there. No, I agree with you, Jeff. I don't think it's a problem if somebody wants to earn money on their own land. As long as we're being responsible with it, then go ahead and go do that. I'm also against subsidies, by the way. I would like, if all of this is being done with private money, great. The Biden administration, before they get out of office, they're trying to dump as much money into these wind and solar projects as they possibly can and make it difficult for Trump to cut off that money. I'm hoping Trump will be able to cut off that money. Because if you want to do it purely on investors' money, go for it. Not subsidies. 8:45. It's Wake Up Wyoming.
Wake Up Wyoming goes anywhere you do with the Wake Up Wyoming app. Free download for Apple and Android. This is K2 Radio.
8:49, off to the icebox we go. Frank Campino is waiting by. Frank, some people on the interweb, on their social media, are really deep thinkers. And some people are not. You there, Frank? Wait, hang on. There we go.
Are you sure about that?
Yes.
Are they? I don't believe it, but
okay.
Go ahead.
All right. Here's one from Jennifer. In fact,
Jennifer. Hi,
I got
Jennifer.
several from Jennifer.
Hi, Jennifer.
If I had a nickel for every time I didn't know what was going on, I would be like, why am I always getting these nickels?
Because she doesn't know what's going on.
Exactly. You see? Okay.
Does she even attempt
I don't know.
to find out what's going on?
Therapists ask, and what do we say when we are sad? Click to add to cart? No. That's not how you solve that problem there. Okay.
Not really, no.
No, that's probably not here. Let's see. Here's a woman saying, oh, I got to find my phone. Where's my phone? And she, of course, now, where is her phone?
Right in her hand.
Yes, it is. Exactly. Okay.
She's calling somebody to say, call me back on my phone because I can't find it.
She's on the phone saying to somebody, where's my phone? I've seen that happen. Okay. We are all mature until someone pulls out bubble wrap.
Yes, and then we all,
Yes.
I think we're all mature that when they until they pull out that game Twister.
Yes. Oh, God, yeah. That's when I run. I'm not playing that game.
No, it's not for people our age.
A man asked a fairy godmother to make him desirable and irresistible to all women.
Okay.
She turned him into a credit card. See?
With low interest.
Yeah. I like this. I'll leave this because you know that you have a cat,
Okay.
Telling a woman to calm down works about as well as trying to baptize a cat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Don't even go there.
Thank you, Jennifer, for all those great.
All righty, women's college basketball. The Wyoming Cowgirls in Springfield tonight to take on Missouri State. Cowgirls are 4-4 on the year after taking 2 out of 3 at a tournament in Puerto Rico last week with victories over Drake and Virginia. Missouri State is 4-3 after losing 2 of 3 at a tournament at the Virgin Islands last week. That's a 5:30 start from Springfield tonight. In junior college basketball, the Casper College teams will be in Gillette for the Border Wars tournament. The T-Bird men are 9-2. They'll play Miles City, Montana this afternoon, and the North Dakota School of Science Giants from Wahpeton tomorrow afternoon. Casper College women's team 7-4. They'll play the College of Southern Idaho this morning at 11, and then Miles City tomorrow morning. The LCCC men's basketball team 5-5 on the year. They'll be at McCook, Nebraska tonight, and the LCCC women's team is 6-6. After a win over Lamar back on Wednesday, they'll host McCook tonight and North Platte, Nebraska tomorrow afternoon. Division I college volleyball, the Wyoming Cowgirls won their first round match in the NIVC tournament in Laramie with a straight set win over Idaho State last night. UW 16-12 on the year. They'll play Utah Valley in that tournament in Laramie this evening at 6 p.m. The National Finals Rodeo moves along tonight from Las Vegas. Yesterday was the first round, and in the bareback, Weston Timmerman, who was born in Casper and is the nephew of former world champion bareback rider Kelly Timmerman. He won the first round with an 87, so he earned $33,687. Timmerman is the two-time CNFR champion in this event, competing for Clarendon College in Texas. Buffalo native Cole Reiner with an 83.5 in the bareback last night. He was out of the money. In the Saddle Bronc, defending world champion and former Sheridan College Cowboy Zeke Thurston won the first round with an 86.5, so he went to the pay window and got $33,687. Hillsdale native and Cheyenne East High School grad Brody Cress with an 83.5. That was good enough for fifth in the round. He made just over $7,000 last night. And Brody Wells from Powell with an 80 last night in the Saddle Bronc. He was out of the money. The second round of the NFR tonight from the Thomas and Mack Center in Las Vegas. That's it, sports.
How much does it cost, like, for instance, he made $7,000 last night. How much did it cost him to make the $7,000?
Well, I mean, yesterday, your only expense was to get to Las Vegas and stay.
Okay.
So everything that you earn, and then you have, $200,000, $300,000. With their take-home pay is certainly a lot less.
Sure.
But they judge you, you win the world championship by who wins the most money during the course of the season and the finals.
Yeah.
So if you win the rodeo itself in Vegas, like the average, I thought it was $86,000, but that I think it looks a little bit low. So you can make as much money as you've had all regular season in 10 days in Vegas.
So when he goes down there, he doesn't have to bring any animals with him?
No, not these guys.
He just shows up.
The team ropers do.
Okay.
They got to bring their own stuff.
Yeah, okay.
And the barrel racers, they got to bring they have to bring their own stuff.
Low overhead is good, but they have high insurance.
If they can get insurance.
Yes, that's a good point. All right, thank you, Frank. Coming up on some local business we got to take care of. And we're going to roll into news time after that. National local update on the weather forecast. It's Wake Up Wyoming. 9:06 the time. It's Wake Up Wyoming. It is a Friday, and I'm glad you made it.
Today's show is sponsored by Pretzel Flavored Mustard. Why eat the pretzel when you can just eat the mustard?
No chewing required.
Warning, this show contains reference to guns, liberty, limited government, low taxation, the cult of climate change, free thinking, cigar smoking, short people, rubber chickens, Karen's bureaucracy, liberal buzzwords, tour runs, traffic, toilets, terrible jokes, and more. No apologies will be issued. Guest callers may express any opinion they want without fear of being canceled. Unless you're a loudmouth jerk like Dave, then Glenn will hang up on you. Strap in, hold on to your coffee, and feel free to participate.
This disclaimer does not refer to every person named Dave, just one particular Dave from San Francisco. We know a lot of Daves. They call this show all the time, and they're great people. So don't call this program and complain that we use your name. That would be a real Dave move.
A few programming notes here. First off, it is open phones, and while we were having some problems with our phones, Mary and I found an interesting little workaround so you can call in. Change the subject if you want. 888-97-WOODS is the phone number. That's 888-97-WOODS. Talk about what I'm talking about, change the subject, as I said. Also, I will be gone next week. I haven't taken a vacation this year. So I will be gone for a week next week to Florida. Now, we will be playing best ofs, which is some of the most fun and most interesting topics we've had on this program. And it's going to be like a week's worth of them. So enjoy those. And then I'm back after that, and we continue on. But I go to visit family in Florida. Also, and it really pains me to say this, I've been saying that all morning long, Miss Mary, who's been with us for quite a while as my producer and partner in crime in this whole thing, has come across a better opportunity, and she's taken it. So this is her last day with us. So if you just wanted to call the number and thank her or just tell her how much you'll miss her, 888-97-WOODS, the phone number. That's 888-97-WOODS, because I know quite a few of you. You don't call to talk to me. You talk to Mary for a while, then you move on. Which always kind of, I get a laugh out of that, but that's okay. People do call and just chat with Mary, and then, no, I don't want to talk to Glenn. So anyway, this is her last day here. After that, until we find a replacement for her, which I don't think we can, it'll be just you and me. We'll be coaching along with that program with no buffer between us. Scary, I know. All right. Before I head out on vacation, I have to talk about this. I was really excited when Elon Musk stepped up and said he would take the job on government efficiency. And one of the things he wanted to do was just fire, like he would when he takes over a company. As a billionaire, he owns many companies. He doesn't just do SpaceX, or X for that matter. He owns many companies. And one of the first things he does is streamline things and get them working efficiently, which means a lot of people have to be let go. Companies run into problems when they get top-heavy. So he wants to, in order to help balance the budget and streamline government, first thing, before we even start closing down useless, wasteful agencies, let's just start getting rid of employees. There are people that we can just get rid of. His brilliant idea is to tell them that they have to show up to work. Let me do that again. His brilliant idea to get rid of a lot of government employees is to tell them that they have to show up to work. About 94% of federal employees since COVID are now working from home. So here's the story. This is a guy named Luke writing this on X. Everybody does this. X, formerly known as Twitter. 94% of feds are still working from home. The EPA had poisonous water at its own headquarters because it was sitting in the pipes of a stagnant house from disuse, it says here. As of March 2020, USDA inspectors claim they inspect food facilities and safety issues from home. Social Security Administration spent $120 million renovating a massive headquarters building. That's your government spending money. $120 million on a massive building for Social Security. But the building is 91% unused. And Biden just signed an agreement giving them, through the Trump administration, continued use and to build even more. Okay, so this is where, again, you want to be productive? Let's make people show up at that building. You have to show up at work. You have to arrive at work. You can't work from home. Elon Musk is counting that a large number, not all, but a large number of federal employees would just say, well, screw that. Here's another one. The VA website, Veterans Administration. At VA, you can break away from the traditional 9-to-5, 40-hour work week without sacrificing the opportunities and benefits that come with job security. 1/3 of the calls to the VA mental health hotline for veterans went unanswered. Now, here's a picture of a building. It's a federal building, and it's a lot of glass in this building. So if someone put a drone up so they can look into this huge federal building. And looking through the glass, there's all of these office desks all over the place, cubicles and so on. And most of the desks are empty. Only 6% work from an office full-time. Some office buildings are mostly empty. And it talks about the EPA, which is tasked, again, with, well, there's a lot of important jobs for the EPA, although, wouldn't you like to send most of them home without a paycheck and they never show up again? I love the job that I really do love what Elon Musk is thinking here. we can go ahead and purge a lot of these people by just telling them from now on you have to show up at work. Source says only 6% of federal employees work from an office full-time. The other, and a third are fully remote. And some aren't actually working when they work from home, according to a Senate investigation. Washington is still operating as if it's 2020, COVID. Quote, just 3% of federal workforce teleworked daily prior to COVID. Today it's 6% actually show up to work. Government office buildings have an occupancy rate of 12%, yet the government spends $16 billion a year. I'll go back and do that again because that's important. Government office buildings have an occupancy rate of just 12%. Yet the government spends about $16 billion a year to operate them. Even the head of the General Services Administration, which makes federal real estate, works from home in Missouri. And, quote, you may be more likely to see a ghost than a bureaucrat haunting the halls of some of these buildings in Washington, D.C. So why are we spending money on all of these buildings? Why bother if you're going to work from home like that? But now, it would be nice if those people who are working from home were actually working. Source says office buildings are so empty that the water supply at the Office of the Environmental Protection Agency, which is tasked with ensuring that you have clean drinking water, was left stagnant for so long that it developed bacteria, according to the audit. Nobody's in the building, so the water in the building became stagnant. But unions have demanded that full individual workstations for each employee be maintained for the rare occasion if somebody actually showed up. Can you imagine a federal employee shows up to work finally, and even though they've worked for whatever agency for years, and they have to figure out where their desk is. I show up to work every single day. I know exactly where to go. I do anyway.
If I manage to make it through this week, I would like my straitjacket to be black leather and my helmet to sparkle. Thank you.
He's talking to himself in a padded room, and you could be the voice in his head. Join the conversation on Wake Up Wyoming, 866-97-WOODS.
Okay, I was going to go on to something else, but some people are dragging me back in. I was just talking about the shockingly few number of federal employees who actually show up to work. And if you're thinking, well, they're working from home now, right? Not being very productive. So the vast majority of federal government office buildings are mostly empty because everybody's home. And productivity, whatever they're supposed to be doing, is way the hell down, as you might imagine. So Chet and Yoder says 6% includes custodial and security people. Remove them, and the attachments are about 1%. That's a fact. Good point. So Wolfie in Campion says the government needs to be cut by at least half. If all this doesn't piss you off, you're an idiot. And it should. And I do like the idea that one of the ways to get rid of most of these people, according to Elon Musk, is just tell them they have to show up to work no matter what. And a lot of them, we're not going to get all of them, but there's going to be a good number that just say, screw this. So there you go. Now, the hard part, I think, is not just streamlining agencies, which needs redundant jobs need to go. Useless jobs need to go. But then also there's entire agencies that just need to be shut down. And you're going to hear a lot of not just Democrats, but establishment Washington, D.C. types, elected and hired, screaming bloody murder over this. Let them yell. We can't keep doing this. We got to stop it. So I hope that they're successful in this. But this is going to be a hell of a fight. I would love to say that it's going to be easy for the Doge campaign, as they're calling it, DOGE, to just work easily, but it's not. This is going to be a fight. And some things are even going to be taken to court. Let it. I especially like it because this is going to provide me, yes, this is all about me, with show prep for the next 4 years, easily. All right. Terry Ergal in Fort Collins. A lot of these federal employees, she says, that don't show up to work, they're getting paid, yes? but they're also probably writing off their quote-unquote office at home and making money off of that. Oh, that's a good point. I hadn't thought about that. Because they can write off on their taxes the home office. And what really is the home office? In fact, Mary and I, we're talking about this today. With the job that Mary is taking as she leaves us, a lot of the work that she'll be able to do, which is not a government job, don't worry, but she'll be able to do a lot of work from home. And I said, what about office space? She has a spare bedroom. She can transform it. And I started telling her about how my personal office space and studio space at home has changed a lot over the years. There was a time when I had at home an office and studios, because, besides doing radio work and other voiceover work and so on, but I write the occasional book. So I had a desk and office space at home because I needed it. But as time has gone by, that's transformed quite a bit to now when I'm working on something, if I'm recording something or if I'm writing something, I can sit in my big easy chair with the leg rest up and my laptop, and that's my office because today's technology has brought it to that, right? So if somebody's writing off home office space, and they probably are, do you think they really have a desk at all? Probably not. Yes, Mary, I do see the call, and I'm going to go ahead and I like this. I can cut and paste the number in and go ahead and call this person and get them on the air. So, see, this is kind of different, but we're getting a hold of Chet. There we go. There's one ringy-dingy.
Yo.
There you go. Hello. This is Glenn.
Hey, how's it going?
Very good. What you got for me?
So I would like to let people know that our church is doing our 4th annual live nativity.
Okay.
On December 21st from 4 till 7. We would have the Torrington Handbell Choir coming in from 5 to 6.
Okay.
And they're really good. We will have horse-drawn carriage rides from 4 till about 6:30, unless the weather gets really bad. And then we will have animals out front for enjoyment. And then we do a reading of the nativity story. I think my wife said about every half hour, with kids doing a little play out front.
Okay. Are you going to have a live baby? Because that's what everybody's wondering when you're talking about this.
No, unfortunately, we did have one lined up, but they moved to South Dakota.
That's funny. Okay, let's get people there, though. So in order for them to attend this, where do they have to go?
It will be at the Yoder Community Center.
Okay.
And we're right when you come through Yoder, you'll see us on the right-hand side.
Mm-hmm.
That's right off the road. We'll have signs out. And it's with our church, Open Door Fellowship.
Okay.
We just kind of do it. We do it for the community. Anybody and everybody is welcome to come. There's no...
So this will be in Yoder, Wyoming, and the dates and times in Yoder are?
It will be Saturday the 21st.
Okay.
And it will start at 4, and it will run till 7, and the handbell choir will be there from 5 to 6, and we will have musicians playing before and after, and then we will have refreshments too.
Now, and don't worry, if you can find Yoder, Wyoming. Once you get there, with the size of the town, you're going to have no problem finding where he's at.
No, if you blink, you'll miss it.
Yes, that's pretty much it. This sounds like a lot of fun. Okay, is there any place I can go online? Do you have a Facebook or anything like that where you're posting this?
Well, that's kind of my wife's department, so I don't know if she's got it up. We will have flyers up around the area and stuff.
Okay. Sounds good. That sounds like a great idea. Well, sorry that you're not going to have a live baby this time, but hey, it was probably going to be too cold for the kid anyway.
Yeah, well, sometimes it's beautiful weather, sometimes it's kind of rotten.
And I kind of doubt that the manger had space heaters, but hey, it's okay.
Well, the way we have our scene set up, we could have snuck a space heater behind there.
Yeah, probably. All right. Thanks for calling. I appreciate it. It sounds like a good time. I got to run the news coming up on some local business that we got to take care of. We're going to roll into news time after that, an update on the weather forecast, and more open phones. Wild Puppers from Cheyenne and Pinedale. Some government employees getting wages based on D.C. cost of living, but not living anywhere near D.C. Then he adds, happy trails on your vacation, which is my vacation. Dan in Cheyenne says, social justice warrior working for government meets Doge. Oh, let me add that one to the list. Let's Wake Up Wyoming.
Wake Up Wyoming with Glenn Woods. Make your voice heard at 888-97-WOODS. This is AM 1030, K2 Radio.
36 the time. It's Wake Up Wyoming. Yes, Judy, I got your gift. Thank you very much. Judy got me a couple of presents for birthday and Christmas, all that kind of stuff. Miss Mary got her stuff too. Do appreciate that, and the card that came with it. Very sweet of you to do that. 888-97-WOODS, the phone number, 888-97-WOODS. Michelle's in Cheyenne. Is he right? And we're talking about offices that are left empty, huge multi-million-dollar government offices, big buildings that we spend billions of dollars every single year on these buildings, and nobody's in them. Well, pretty much nobody, because the vast majority of employees are supposed to be working from home, and most of them are not getting a whole lot done. Federal government employees. So Micah says, Glenn, I'm one of those called Mary specifically. No need to talk to you. I love her future plans, and I'm so proud of her. Thanks for being decent enough for her to be with your show all these years. And for those who don't know, it's Miss Mary. If you want to call Miss Mary before the show is over, you can just 888-97-WOODS, 888-97-WOODS. This will be your last day. She's moving on to better opportunities. So a lot of you people call and just chat with Miss Mary, and either to get through to me or just to chat with her. So here's a good chance to say goodbye and thank you. 888-97-WOODS. Michelle in Cheyenne. During COVID, Office Depot sold more desks for home offices in 2 months than in prior years total. So there's probably more home offices than you might think. I had to buy a kitchen table for a desktop for my office. Okay, what she's talking about there is, I've noticed that because of technology, really you don't have to have a home office to have a home office. I do a lot of other work besides the radio show, and in many cases, I'll just sit on a couch with a laptop. And there's my office. I have a laptop and a cell phone, and I'm at work. So things change a lot because of technology. I wonder how many people are declaring home offices and they don't actually have an office. They're just sitting there on the couch, but they're declaring it anyway.
Welcome to the Church of Global Warming.
Sorry, I just came in to get out of the cold. You don't mind, do you?
Well, the cold outside is due to global warming.
Wait, wasn't this the same church that said that this part of the world was going to be a sandy desert by now?
Global warming works in mysterious ways.
Right, kind of like God works in mysterious ways.
Hey, careful how you talk about the Obama.
I think I'll just wait outside and suffer in the driving blizzard. Besides, it's freezing cold in here.
That's because global warming froze over the wind turbine blades in the clouds, and snow and ice cover the solar panels, you idiot!
I'm just looking at different things that I haven't played for a while before I go ahead and turn on vacation. Can you tell that I'm already on vacation right now? Yeah, okay. Oh, here's a good one. I haven't played this one in a while.
The first ever prescription depressant hit the shelves today. Approved by the FDA last month, Despondex is intended as a treatment for the approximately 20 million Americans who are insufferably cheery. Tests prove the drug is effective at reducing a range of symptoms, from squealing loudly when a friend calls to use of the phrase cool beans and excessive hugging. Dr. Alman Way calls the drug a huge step forward in the battle against exuberance.
If you're in a good mood every so often, well, that's fine. That's normal. This is for those that have a persistent positive outlook on life.
Eva Henry of New Haven, Connecticut began participating in a clinical trial of Despondex 6 weeks ago.
I was always telling people how cute their outfits were and bringing them little gifts. I'd beam at anyone who made eye contact with me. I didn't realize life didn't have to be like that.
Eva said she never knew how her annoyingly chipper attitude was affecting those around her.
Over and over again, I'd ask Jeff to ride his bike down to the botanical garden with me. No matter how many times he said no.
And she was always smiling, but I didn't know what to do to help her.
I used to think, why am I the only one trying to set up single friends with each other? And now I realize it. I was sick. I needed treatment.
Eva says the drug may have saved their marriage.
Now Jeff and I can just waste a night sitting on the couch watching a TV show neither of us enjoy. Like a regular couple.
Not everyone is convinced that Despondex is the cure-all for perkiness, however. In this week's Time magazine, Michael Polosik of UCLA argues that many patients get similar results from natural remedies, something as simple as a diet of corn syrup and white bread and a total lack of exercise. But Dr. Way disagrees.
We have to erase the stigma attached with getting chirpy people help, real medical help. I mean, do you know what it's like to be around these people? It's pretty annoying.
Doctors estimate the new drug could reduce the number of costume or theme parties in the U.S. by up to 40%.
Okay, so let's do one more thing here before I go. Let's see. There's a Church of Global Warming that I played there. How much time do I got? Yeah, I got time to fit one more in. And I know I've played this quite a bit, but I don't think I played it enough. Our social justice warrior, after finding out that Trump had won the election. Time now for another thrilling episode of Social Justice Warrior. Our warrior was so convinced that Harris was going to win. He really hasn't been doing anything in a while. But now that Trump, the evil orange meanie, has won basically everything, our social justice warrior, fearless as he is, has been afraid to leave his apartment. A translation, hiding in his mother's cellar with his sidekick, Alfred.
Oh, the world is a much safer place now that we have Harris and Waltz in the White House.
Wait, what are you talking about?
Finally, we have defeated those evil Nazi conservatives. The entire world is now a safe space.
Wow. Talk about delusional denial. You know, almost everyone voted for Trump, even your mother.
Where's my rainbow coloring book?
Man up, sissy boy.
Ew, you hit like a girl.
Don't misgender me. Now more than ever does the world need a social justice warrior against the evil of the orange meanie. Now prance over there in your little rainbow tights and mask and defend until the end.
Oh, Alfred, you're right. The world needs me now more than ever. Hand me my tights.
You still don't have the butt to wear those.
Do you really think I can beat them?
Hell no. But posting videos of you getting your ass kicked on TikTok always gets me like a bazillion views.
Well, our hero... heck, what am I even trying to say? No, he won't. Whatever it is he plans to do, and trust me, he does not have a plan. Did Mom really vote for Trump?
Yeah. She had a sign out in front and everything.
Really? How come I never saw it?
Probably because you never go outside.
Frank Gambino and sports coming up in this Wake Up Wyoming.
If it's happening in Wyoming, it's on Wake Up Wyoming with Glenn Woods from K2 Radio. Join the conversation at 888-97-WOODS.
9:49 is the time. Head on over to the Icebox. Frank Gambino's waiting by. Okay, Frank, did you have a donut downstairs?
Oh, I did. I got the first one out of the box.
Okay, go. A fresh one. Very good.
Yeah, right out of the box. Like they call them like Long Johns.
Long Johns. That's what does the Long John look like?
It's about that long.
Okay, very good.
It's with chocolate and then on top.
Yeah.
And then filling in the middle.
Oh, okay. There's another name for one of those. I'm trying to think of the a crepe? No, not that. I'm trying to think of the other name for that.
Now, eclairs are different.
Eclairs.
But they're different, though.
Okay, it's not an eclair.
No.
Okay. Now, I mentioned to you, because when I was told there were donut downstairs, I thought, I'll go have a look. But as you know, over the years, I've lost my sweet tooth, which is good for you.
Yeah, there's more for me, yeah.
That's right, yeah. And so when I looked in there, the one that I picked, which really didn't have a whole lot to it. I mean, it had a little bit of, glaze on top.
Yeah.
That was about it. Other than that, it was just sort of like a sweeter bread.
Mm-hmm.
And that was good.
Excellent.
Because you've seen they sometimes have a donut, which looks like a regular glazed donut, but they put so much colorful icing on top. And
that's the kind of sugar you need in your life.
Oh, my God, yeah. I mean, I can run from here to Florida in about 20 minutes if I eat one of those. God, I can't, Frank. It's just too much sweet. I can't do it. And if I've ever tried one of those, I ended up dropping all of the icing into the garbage.
Yeah, I'm the opposite end.
Yeah.
Because in all honesty, I'm probably a sugar addict.
Yeah.
That I need it. It's weird.
Yes,
if I don't have it, I don't.
Especially,
it's just
and
weird.
This is the only thing I hate about you, Frank. And you don't get any weight. I look at that box of donuts. I gain 5 pounds.
I look at that box of donuts. I'll take 2.
Yeah, 2 boxes.
Well, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, obviously.
No, I'll save some for others.
No, you won't.
Okay. National Finals Rodeo moving along tonight in Las Vegas where the big money is. In yesterday's first round in the bareback, Weston Timmerman, born in Casper and the nephew of former world champion and Wyoming native Kelly Timmerman, won the first round with an 87, so he picked up $33,687. Timmerman is a 2-time college National Finals Rodeo champion in that event, and he competed for Clarendon in Texas. Buffalo native Cole Reiner with an 83.5 in the bareback last night. He was out of the money. In the saddle bronc, defending world champion and former Sheridan College Cowboy Zeke Thurston won the round with an 86.5, so he went to the pay window and he got $33,687. Hillsdale native and Cheyennese high school grad Brody Chris with an 83.5 in this event, and that was good enough for 5th, so he made $7,063. Brody Wells from Powell, an 80 last night, but he was out of the money, and the second round of the NFR will be tonight from the Thomas and Mack Center in Las Vegas. Junior college basketball, the Casper College teams will be in Gillette for the Border Wars tournament. The T-Bird men are 9-2, and they'll play Miles City, Montana this afternoon, and the North Dakota School of Science tomorrow afternoon. Casper College women's team is 7-4. They'll play the College of Southern Idaho this morning at 11, and then Miles City tomorrow morning. The LCCC basketball team out of Cheyenne, 5-5 on the year. They'll be at McCook, Nebraska tonight, and the LCCC women's basketball team is 6-6 with a win over Lamar on Wednesday. They'll host McCook tonight and North Platte, Nebraska tomorrow afternoon. Women's college basketball at the Division I level. The Wyoming Cowgirls will be in Springfield this evening to take on Missouri State. Cowgirls are 4-4 after taking 2 out of 3 at a tournament in Puerto Rico. They beat Drake and also Virginia. Missouri State is 4-3. After losing 2 of 3 in a tournament in the Virgin Islands last week. That'll be a 5:30 start from Springfield tonight. And in college volleyball, the Wyoming Cowgirls won their first round match in the NIVC tournament in Laramie last night with a straight set win over Idaho State. UW is 16-12 on the year. They're going to play again tonight against Utah Valley, and that will start at 6 p.m. And that's it in sports.
You realize, since this is Miss Mary's last day.
I know.
We will be left unsupervised up here.
Right. Well, I'm downstairs, so
yes,
you're on your own.
But still, though, I mean, we get here early in the morning, and the group of us that are here, more than anything, Mary has been our babysitter.
Yes.
And our nanny.
I would say she is the straw
yes.
that stirs the drink around here.
Exactly right. So that's a weird way to put it, but I'll go with that. Okay. So, I don't know what's going to happen. Nobody's going to clean their room.
No, no waffles.
Nobody will put the lid down in the bathroom.
No, nobody will give me help with my phone.
No, none. Wait, your phone goes down like mine had. You are screwed.
Oh, yeah, there's got to be somebody here that knows more than me.
Yeah.
Most people do.
Most people do. We're just not telling you, Frank.
Yeah, but they don't get to hear it that early in the morning like she does.
They really don't. So, I mean, they're absolutely screwed. Yeah. I don't know what we're going to do with that.
But good luck to Mary. We're going to miss her bad.
Absolutely, yeah. And she oftentimes brought goodies for us to eat, too.
See?
Which is another reason we liked her. All right. Thank you, Frank. Mm-hmm. Coming up on some local business we have to take care of. Remember, now, next week I am on vacation. We have some great best of shows. Also, this program is a podcast. And the Wake Up Wyoming app is going to keep you busy with still more news, sports, weather information, and so on, even though I'm out for a little while. So enjoy the best ofs because Mary picked some really good ones for you. It's Wake Up Wyoming.